watching JV's Country Kitchen and other stuff. This is the last of the European Cycling Edition. This episode you're going to see us out in Split, Croatia. I hope you enjoy it.
Before we went on our cycling tour, we took a ride up to Cliffs Fortress. It's about 1,100 feet in altitude, sits about 6 miles off the coastline of the Adriatic. It had spectacular views all the way around. Some of you may have seen scenes of this fortress before in the famous HBO softcore porno Game of Thrones, but this was my first time seeing it. Now, as we made our way to the top, there was a little museum set up there. No air conditioner or anything, just a brief reprieve from the sun. And that's where I learned that the Croatians were apparently known for large, brawny men with really good, distinct mustaches. And that's where I had to ask myself, I had to start to wonder, am I a Croatian? Now we made it to the top of the fortress. Give you a few more views here before we actually get started on our cycling ride. And here's our route. 46 miles, not our longest, but it was definitely not easy. A lot of elevation gain. This is us heading out on the jetty, and just like every other place in Europe, immediately uphill. This really was the most beautiful ride that we went on in all of Europe. And we cycled through Greece, through Spain, through Malta. Maybe I'm skipping another one. We didn't go while we were in Italy, unfortunately, due to the weather. But you're at the point here, if you look at the map of where we rode, and I'll post a link for that as well, we cycled along the Mediterranean sea line for miles, and it was, we were so tempted multiple times to just hop off the bikes and go jump in the water. It was absolutely gorgeous. Now you can see we're actually getting to this ravine that we start riding through. What we didn't know at the time is that we were about to climb the side of this and ultimately be able to look back and see where we had just ridden under that bridge you saw. And this next clip right there, we just rode under that bridge. Just took us about an hour to get up to this point. You can also hear the beautiful chirping of what must be the largest abundance of cicada bugs I've ever heard in my life. They were incessant and did not stop the whole time we were there. Look at these idiots still climbing a mountain. We went from sea level to about 800 feet in roughly 3 miles. It got pretty steep at some points. When we finally rounded this bend, we get up to the top of this hill, and I'm like, thank God, we made it to the top. So I take a left, jump over to the other side of the road, where I get off the bike and down my second of third water bottles, with the assumption that the rest of our ride is downhill. Taking the view, and then learn that we are still going uphill for another mile and another 200 feet to get us to about 1,000 feet in elevation. And then this downhill is where we got a reward, or so we thought. like the road we're supposed to go down. It'd be a shame if we kept riding. That sounded incredibly cynical, but it happens when you're riding. You miss turns. Fortunately, we realized that mistake before we got too much further down the mountain. This is where Glenn told us the biggest lie of every cycling trip we ever went on. He said, we're going down the backside of a mountain and it's a false flat. Nothing to worry about. It was not a false flat. Look at the peak at the 30-mile mark. This was 5 miles uphill the entire way, and eventually the shade went away. None of us had water. Jared was seeing stars. It was still the most awesome bike ride ever. Jared does not agree. But that's okay, because he's still with us, so we had a great time. I would do it again. I want to go back. Croatia was awesome. So you can see it's starting to level out. We're at the top of the mountain, at least the top that we planned on going to. We're at 1,500 feet elevation. We've ridden 30 miles. This is our reward. This is why we sought after the mountains, and every port call that we went to is the descent. This is quite possibly my favorite one that we've done. The second one being the canyon that we rode through in Thariso on the island of Crete for Greece. So I hope you enjoy it. It's not edited, it's not trimmed out. This is the full downhill so that the 3 of us that did it can watch this and enjoy.
Stay close to me.
downhill was incredible, but we were all out of water. Jared was seeing stars, like I said earlier. We stopped at the first place we found so that we could rehydrate. And the last 15 miles were spent riding home, so I edited all that out. You didn't care to see that. There's the ship. Last but not least, the restaurant we ate one night at dinner. Silk. It was sushi. If you're in Croatia and Split, I highly recommend. It was phenomenal. The people were friendly. It was 100 degrees in there, but we didn't care. And yes, that is cheese on top of eel. They've got to start doing that stateside. That was delicious.